Hi, welcome to SBR Sports Picks. My name is Peter Loshak. His name is Mike Brenner. We are the Odds Couple. We come to you from sportsbookreview.com. It's Thursday, February 16th. We're in the heart of the stretch run of college basketball season. We're going to be talking right now with Ross Benjamin from rbwins.com about a very interesting topic, Mike Brenner, one that we talk about pretty much every single show in college basketball, and that is basically, what the line is telling you when you see it, if a line doesn't make sense, and general, quote-unquote, traps, contrarian plays, those kinds of things. When you look at a line, we've talked about this ad nauseum. The last one that we talked about in depth was yesterday, right? Seton Hall against Creighton.
Absolutely, you were right on top of that. And then the week before, I think it was a Maryland game where we were like, wait a minute, that's got trapped. But there's something, and there's a formula, or there's something that just sticks out and lets you feel that feeling. And I don't know, Pete. I see some of them coming up with the tournament and everything.
So we talk about this naturally in every Odds Couple show that we do, and we're going to get Ross Benjamin's take on these topics, on on what it means when he sees a line that doesn't quite make sense, how he reacts, and then how line movement and betting percentages plays into it. So Ross Benjamin,
and I think he would have a good take on it, because last year I did a show with Ross on just underdogs, and he really dug in there on a limited menu, Pete, all right? And a limited menu, and absolutely was on top and profited the whole year. So I think his take on this would be interesting, and I think it's going to be sharp.
All right. Ross Benjamin from rbwins.com. Contrarian Plays in college basketball, lines and line movements. What can you tell us about it?
Well, Pete, first of all, thanks for having me again, guys. Always a pleasure to be with you guys. Here's the thing. Too many times the novice bettor, the guy who comes home from work from his full-time job, and no disrespect to him or that individual, but they try to do a 2-minute handicap. And they'll look at Team A beat Team B by 20, and Team B beat Team C by 20. So when Team A plays Team C, they should win by 40, right? Right. Not that easy. Okay, and I'm glad you guys touched upon this through your shows, because it's very sharp observations on both your part, which doesn't surprise me at all. Let's look at an example on Saturday, a game between Texas Tech and Baylor. Number 4 Baylor is a 2.5-point road favorite at unranked Texas Tech. Texas Tech's 4-8 in conference play. What's up with that? I mean, the guy who looks at this no further than a ranked team, only 2.5 favorite on the road against a team 4-8 in conference play, they have to be a mortal lock, right? You have to stop and think, folks. Don't be so impulsive. What happens? Texas Tech ends up knocking off Baylor by 6 points in that game. Perfect example of having a contrarian approach, that when you see something that looks too good to be true, most times than not in sports betting, it is. And that's example, and some of the examples you guys brought up.
And you know what, Ross, to add on to that, because you're absolutely right. Another thing, the guy that does, and with all due respect to him, that does that little 2-minute handicap, and he really doesn't even see it at, oh, this is too good to be true. He's just looking at ranked team minus 2.5 on the road. Here's that record, and the public run to the betting window. And I mean, it's like a totals game when you've got two quarterbacks that are just killing it. All right, they all run to the window, but that's where you got to stop. And like you said, break it down, figure this thing out, take some time, because that is what absolutely is the night and day difference between cashing tickets and investing, or gambling and throwing your money out.
Right. But Ross Benjamin, so how can we tell when we look at a line, if a line looks too good to be true, if we should go the opposite way, or if we should actually take
Very well said.
And what kind of things do you look for?
Well, I look for reverse line movement, guys.
Okay.
I mean, to me, that's a sure indicator of where the big money in Vegas and the offshore sports books are going. What we allude to as sharp money. Look, you can never marry yourself to one aspect of handicapping. Mike, we've discussed this on several occasions over the last year. But factoring this into the equation is a really strong format, Pete. Here's an example. Tuesday night. Buffalo played at Central Michigan in a MAC game. Bookmaker opened with Buffalo being a 1-point favorite. 1 hour before game time, 59% of the individual bets at Bookmaker were made on Central Michigan, yet that line went from Buffalo being -1 to Buffalo being -3.5. It's what we call reverse line movement in our business, because technically, guys, as you well know, from being in this business a long time, when you see that type of disparity in the amount of wagers going on one side, normally you would think that line should have went to maybe a pick 'em, right? And it goes 2.5 points the opposite way. And people have to realize those are individual bets in those betting trends. That doesn't indicate the amount of money bet. So basically, 41% of the bets that were made on Buffalo far outweighed the 59% on Central Michigan in terms of actual money being bet. And lo and behold, Buffalo wins the game by 6. And you have a reverse line movement. You found where sharp money was going, and you jump all over it. You make yourself some money. And going back to the obvious piece, Central Michigan was 10-1 at home going into that game, and they were a home dog.
Right.
So I mean, there you go again. If it looks too good to be true, normally it isn't.
Wow, that was a
and-
great
yeah,
breakdown.
and exactly,
I love the way
I tend not. I don't look at public betting percentages too much, but I do look at line movement. And going back to that Creighton Seton Hall game, when we first looked at it, we were like, "This looks like a trap." Seton Hall's just a 1.5 point underdog. Then, a couple hours before tip off, it had moved to pick 'em, so it had
sure
moved
did.
in Seton Hall's favor. And when I saw that, I was
Right.
like, "Oh man!"
And if you
that
looked
is-
at betting trends on that, Pete, over 63%, I believe, were on Creighton.
Oh, okay, yep.
There it is, and
You know,
that's
it was a
exactly what
reverse
Ross is
as
saying.
well.
Yeah, wow.
All
Wow.
right. Ross Benjamin from rbwins.com. Thanks so much. We are the Odds Couple. He's Mike Brenner. My name is Peter Loshak. Ross Benjamin, quickly tell us about rbwins.com.
You can find me at rbwins.com. That's where you can get all my pay selections that go to my customers. That's my paying customers. Also, the games that I personally bet on. That's rbwins.com, where you pay a little. And Mike,
You make a lot.
all right.
All right. Thanks, Ross.
I love it. Good stuff, Ross. Have a great weekend coming up, and always a pleasure doing work with you. I love your breakdowns, my man.
Research before you bet. Be sure to check out SPR Picks for the best game predictions, breakdowns, and much, much more.